everyone. Welcome to the presentation of Jackson State University Team Impacts in the SWANA Design Competition 2024. I am Fariha.
I'm Zaman.
This is Fahim.
And I'm Autrika, and today we're going to talk about how we are going to fight the plastic problem of state SWANA. Let's go!
Thank you, Autrika. Do you know, across our planet, plastic is causing a crisis where the landfill is burdened with 80% of the plastic we use, and the oceans are no better off, with over 700 species caught in the crosshair of the pollution. From the bottles to the bags, this plastic can linger up to around 450 years. In the United States, the situation is critical. Over 35 million tons of plastic we generate annually, a minimal fraction is recycled and the rest ends up in the landfill. The crisis deepened after 2018 when the national soap policy of China forced us to confront our reliance on offshore recycling solutions that are no longer viable. In the state of SWANA, a sizable income average of $57,000 per household, plastic make up to 19.2% of the waste and a high contamination rate of 32% hampers the recycling. The cities of Bampa, Majora Beach and Doton each struggle with unique waste challenges. The Majora Beach deals with trash from tourists, Bampa has to watch out for air pollution from burning waste, and Doton is trying to determine if recycling at home is worth the cost. The current strategy of SWANA is not keeping pace. Only 20% of waste is converted to energy in a waste-to-energy facilities in Bampa. The rest, an unacceptable amount of 80%, goes to landfills in Majora Beach and Doton. This is a clear signal that their method needs upscale. The beach overflowing with waste, public health concerns from WT facility, and soaring costs of recycling cause problems. The resistance from major companies like sugar fees against responsible manufacturing practices adds to this challenge. With these issues in sharp focus, the task force sets 4 objectives. First, we will draft a strategic plan that meets the task of the reducing plastic waste at landfill. Secondly, we will adopt technology that meets our waste management needs. Thirdly, we will engage our communities, increasing the current 46.8% participation rate in recycling, also reducing the contamination rate from the current 32%. Also, we'll push for the new laws to solidify these initiatives. To achieve this milestone to reduce plastic waste, the task force identified 4 categories of waste management action plan and prepared the roadmap, dividing the 10-year into 4 different phases. The action plan includes activities under infrastructure enhancement, policy advocacy, technology transfer, and community mobilization. These will be implemented in 4 timelines or phases: 2025 to 26, 2027 to 29, 2030 to 32, and 2033 to 34. Now, my fellow teammate Fariha will carry on the presentation.
Thank you, Zaman. Now, I'll be presenting the infrastructure enhancement and policy advocacy action plans. The infrastructural improvement plan will span over the first 2 phases. In the first phase, the state of SWANA will introduce dual-stream collection system in all urban and rural areas. The household will use a 2-bin system, one for plastic and the other for non-plastic materials. As most of the areas in SWANA is in urban settings, the task force assumes that the household might find it difficult to maintain more than 2 separate bin systems within their homes due to space constraint. On the other hand, in rural areas, in parallel with the existing collection centers, separate curbside collection dumpsters will be provided so that the residents do not need to travel a longer route to dispose of their plastic waste. Commercial facilities will have to maintain separate collection bins for their plastic waste on their own management. There will be a law regarding the proper disposal of plastic waste separately for the commercial entities. By the end of phase 1, the state will provide 500 additional dumpsters in different cities from 8 million budget. The remaining required dumpsters will have to be provided by the city authority. Now, you may ask how the cities will accommodate the funding for that. Well, the task force suggests that the city authority will allocate a certain percentage of the collection fee for their plastic waste management. After discussing with the collection companies, landfill authorities and other working agencies, the city will decide the percentage. One of the concerns of the residents of Bampa was the increasing rate of waste service. After the successful implementation of the program, there will be a reduced amount of waste going to the landfill, which will reduce the landfill operation cost and increase the lifespan. Also, the material recovery facilities will receive streams of plastic waste separately, which will reduce their cost of waste sorting. Therefore, the task force does not suggest a further increase in the fee until or unless it is necessary. During the second phase, the state will provide its monitoring system with using advanced technology like artificial intelligence to track proper waste sorting and proper dumping. So, the budget allocated for the infrastructure enhancement will be for the first phase 0.55 million, which will be 0.16 million for the phase 2. Let's move to the action plan related to the policy advocacy. At present, there is no law or mandate regarding plastic waste management in the state of SWANA. The task force has suggested some laws, regulations and mandate to be established to control the plastic waste in the state. Like, all the cities of the state must manage separate collection systems for plastic and non-plastic waste in both urban and rural areas. The state will impose tax on single-use plastic products like checkout polythene bags, plastic cutlery, etc. The tax will be collected as PAC tax, or what we call Plastic Accountability and Consumption Tax. The tagline will be Pledge Against Plastic, Pay to Protect. The state will impose extended producer responsibility for the producers of plastic to take great responsibility for the in-life of management of the products they produce to the market and encourage innovations in product designs. Companies must submit an annual plastic usage and climate sustainability report to the state showing their goals and achieved milestones on the life cycle management of their produced plastic. In major base city, a significant higher penalty will be imposed for littering plastic waste other than the designated recycled bin, specifically in the ocean. The penalty scheme will be named as eco-fines, paying the price for littering. In order to minimize plastic packaging waste associated with personal care products in hotels, regulations will be there to introduce refillable dispenser in hotel bathrooms. These dispensers will replace individual miniatures and non-recyclable plastics packaging for items such as shampoo, body wash and conditioners. The task force suggests to form a working committee for the baseline study and law establishment. So, the budget allocation for policy-related activities will be 0.35 million for the first phase for baseline study and advocacy, 0.08 million for law enforcement and 0.05 million to assess the impacts of the established law. Now, Fahim will present how the task force suggested to design the technology transfer scheme.
Thank you, Farika, for setting the stage with action plans. Hello everyone. I am thrilled to present to you the activities under the technology transfer. The task force suggests introducing 3 pivotal interventions into the system: the chemical facility, the mechanical facility, and the last but not the least, the innovative construction materials company, which is known as ICMC. In the chemical facility, the plastics from MRFs will be received to produce valuable end products. The processes like pyrolysis, gasification, hydrolysis and others will be taken care, where plastic waste will turn into reusable resources like monomers and oil. Here the waste is redefined, where every piece of plastic has a potential to contribute to the energy needs of downtown's bustling industries. The chemical facility will not only be a hub of activity, but also will help to create a sustainable future. For that, $1 million will be allocated to build the primary infrastructure of this facility. Now, let's focus on Pampa, which is a strategic location for the mechanical facilities. We selected the mechanical company to be built here to minimize transportation costs, to sort out the plastics from the MRFs. The task force allocated $1 million in the mechanical facility, which will be an integral component of the waste management system of SWANA, where the focus is on mechanical recycling specific types of plastics such as PET, LDPE and other rigid plastic containers. Once the plastic will arrive at this facility, they are subjected to further sorting to ensure purity and recyclability. The next step is the process involves size reduction and high power shredded tear down the plastic items into smaller and manageable pieces, which are then processed by granulators that further reduce the size of these pieces into fine plastic granules or the pallets. The pallets will be the key output that will be sold out to the local businesses or companies like ICMC and others. Lastly, ICMC represents a forward-thinking solution within SWANA's waste management system, focusing on repurposing recycled plastics into construction and infrastructure materials. The task force allocated $500,000 to develop their facilities in the phase 2 of the program. ICMC's primary mission is to produce sustainable building materials like recycled plastic beam, which is known as RPPs, plastic bitumen composites for road construction. RPPs are made primarily from the recycled plastics. Those are engineered for stabilizing highway slopes, offering a low-cost, durable, and alternative to the traditional materials. The compressive strength and the modularity of these beams make them suitable for heavy-duty applications, holding the potential to significantly extend the lifespan of the infrastructures. We have seen successful cases of RPPs in Texas, Mississippi, and Missouri. Additionally, the company will utilize shredded plastic as a binding agent in bitumen, which can revert as a plastic coat. This will also prepare the plastic bricks and the plastic aggregates from the waste of the SWANA, ensuring a steady supply of the raw materials. Research has shown there is no risk of microplastic pollutions from this technology. That's why it can be utilized. The introduction of these facilities will be a strategic move toward a sustainable urban development. By incorporating recycled plastics into the built environment, SWANA aims to reduce reliance on virgin materials, lower construction costs, and minimize the environmental impact. And any remaining plastics that are not suitable for any recycling processes are not discarded. They are sent to the waste-to-energy facilities, ensuring that every piece of plastic waste is utilized with the maximum efficiency and minimum environmental footprint. These facilities will be given the $2.5 million in the first and second phase, and $0.606 million is kept in the third phase to demonstrate a good practice in different scientific symposium or conference. And now I will hand over to Altika, who will elaborate the plans for community mobilization.
Thank you, Fahim, for explaining all the technical solutions. While combating with plastic pollution, technological advancement and legislative measures are indispensable tools. But what if we stop generating plastic waste? Creating awareness among people is the most important and critical part of reducing plastic waste in landfills. Studies show that community-based projects can be effective, but they must be designed and implemented well. Case studies across the United States have shown examples of successful community-based projects. In Bolivia, for example, an examination of 18 community-based water projects showed that providing education, training, and proper resources to local communities were key to water cleanup projects. For community-based projects to be effective, they must take certain aspects into consideration. Part of the reason why community-based initiatives can be difficult to implement is because there is no one-size-that-fits-all strategy. The first sector we need to focus on is the first 2 years of behavioral evolution. To initiate environmental safety against pollution, we need to strengthen our future generation. You guessed it correctly. We need to start with our school students. They are the most adaptive group and have direct influence on changing perspective of the adults. The first step is the development of learning materials capacity building manual based course introduction in school levels. This step includes active participation of students and teachers to apply plastic waste related knowledge in real life. Acknowledgement of plastic-free classroom in school will encourage the students to build practice of getting over with plastic and incline them towards reusable plastic products. The second target training group is the community. Before implementing law and order, campaign, and educational program with the help of non-governmental organizations will be organized to teach people source separation of waste and reducing single-use plastic. Monthly voluntary plastic waste collection will also be introduced in this stage. Our third approach is the first phase is in city level. Each city, Bampa, Dalton, Majora Beach, has their own plastic problems. To raise awareness in such big level, we need to focus on their specific problems and raise awareness through churches, offices, and restaurants. For example, in Majora Beach, infographics and guidelines on waste disposal will be circulated throughout the beach or tourist spots. Another approach can be using biodegradable materials and make them readily available. Our fourth approach is the state level approach, where flyers, brochures, learning materials need to be developed for the upcoming laws and mandates. Advertisements on television, development of social media content like Facebook, TikTok, YouTube needs to be incorporated in this section. Now let's go to phase 2. From 2027 to 2009, we will be focusing on public participation. We can ensure the most public involvement by arranging summer workshops in school, mass activities like marathon, walk, and similar effects to publicize the law with strategic engagement of local leaders and influencers. Organizing community level competition to find out our next Captain Marvel and Majora Beach Cleanup campaign along the WTE Comprehensive campaign will be conducted in this stage. The third phase during 2030 to 2032 brings regulatory reinforcements and incentivization. Success stories, monitoring with neighborhood and local organization with heavy penalties, incentivization will be applied in this stage. The fourth phase, survey and feedback from people and workers of waste management is required for adapting to the existing strategies based on findings and challenges. In summary, the first phase is the behavior building period and the most difficult part. For this phase, $1.7 million have been kept as budget. The second phase comes with stronger awareness development and asking questions about what happens next. $1.8 million have been allocated for this phase. Third phase is the implementation phase with $0.5 million allocation, and the fourth phase is for tracking behavior progress with $0.25 million allocation. In total, more than 50% of the total budget, which is $4.25 million, is allocated for social awareness. Now Fariha, can you explain the results?
Thanks, Radhika. We hope that if the state of SWANA implements the action plan, it will align with several sustainable development goals. Like, the introduction of advanced technologies will ensure that the program aligns with the Goal 9 of resilient and sustainable infrastructure. Reduction of plastic use and plastic waste at the landfill would cut the adverse effects of waste on cities and human health, aligning with Goal 12. Additional tax like pack tax will promote reduced reuse of single-use plastic products and hence will ensure sustainable consumption of plastic waste. It would also promote reusable bags or cutlery in different contexts. The reduced use of plastic would mitigate the emissions occurred due to plastic production, marine pollution, and landfill management challenges. Thus, it will work to combat the adverse effect of climate change as the Goal 13 of the SWDC. Special attention was given to reduce the plastic consumption in coastal areas like Majora Beach, which aligns with the Goal 14 of reducing marine pollution and conserve sea lives. However, the task force has identified some challenges that might occur while running the campaign, like the access to all stakeholder groups to promote new interventions. There will be some oppositions regarding the added tax or charges imposed on plastic waste. Introducing reusable bags or glass bottles instead of plastic products can be difficult if the users are too accustomed to the benefits they get from plastics. Ensuring compliance with new regulations can be difficult, particularly in areas with limited resources for enforcement. Ensuring that policies do not disproportionately burden underprivileged communities or intensify any existing inequalities is crucial. We do not want the poor people to suffer for the added tax. Establishing effective system for monitoring progress and evaluating the impact of plastic waste reduction policies can be complex and resource intensive. With successful implementation, the remaining plastic waste will be those type of plastic which cannot be recycled due to contamination or nature of the products like cotton buds. However, the action plan integrates participation of state, city, community, NGOs, philanthropic groups and private sectors, and it will ensure a sustainable and resilient plastic waste management in the state of SWANA. The 10-year will ensure a circular economy that will draw the industry players more to the good practices like source separation, reduce, reuse, and recycle plastic waste. To conclude, the expected plastic waste rate will be 6% in the state of SWANA after the implementation of the program. That's all for our presentation. We would like to thank our professor, Dr. Sadiq Khan, for his supervision and guidance. Thank you all for listening.
And remember, every plastic counts.
Go plastic free.
Reduce, reuse, and recycle.
And restore the earth.